This is Monday, November 5th. They're all afraid I was going to pop the balloon. A bunch of haters. It's just going to have a balloon sitting in front of it. Regular class. We're going to get into more learning of poetry-ish thingy stuffs. Let's see. Today, Camp Tecumseh turns to start reading your book report book. We did a memory poem from there. The first thing we're going to take a look at for today is a really, really short poem called Haiku. You guys seen Haiku before?
Yeah.
If you haven't, yay, because they're an easy one to learn. If you have, yay, it doesn't take long to learn them. This is what a haiku is. So to give you a heads up as we get into it, sure, Sam, you can read about haiku. You're so eager. I appreciate you right there next to me. So haiku, go for it, Sam. Let's find out how they are.
A haiku is a three-line poem of Japanese origin containing 17 syllables.
I know words.
There are 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the third line. Such a poem must communicate meaning through very few words and should only have one idea or topic. Per haiku, the subject matters of a haiku is usually drawn from nature.
Nicely done. So it's going to be a 3-line poem. It is always 3 lines every single time. And then it's always broken up by syllables, not words. And so the syllables, there's a couple different ways to count syllables if you've never done them before. One is the jaw drop method when you first start learning how to do it. And so if you put your hand underneath your chin, it's every time your chin drops on a word, that's a syllable. So if you're trying to figure out how many syllables in the word buttercup, you go buttercup. And so your chin drops 3 times. That gives you a total of 3. If you're trying to pickle snicks, and you're like, pickle snicks. Oh, that's 3 again. Just be careful when you do it. Don't move your hand up at the same time and be like, peanut butter 12. It doesn't work that way. So just keep right there and just go peanut butter 4. And so it's really awkward. Eventually, there's also one which is the clapping monkey method, which the clapping monkey is one you sometimes did when you were in like elementary school. You go, peanut butter. And you're like, ooh, that's 4. Jelly, that's 2. Sandwich. And so you get a little clappy thing as you go through. And eventually you'll work your way up to the more advanced ones, which is where you just hold your hand out and just count them as you go through. You are a big goober. What is wrong with you? I want to smack the hair off your head. So you can just sort of count them as you go through. So every time we do a haiku, the first line is always going to have 5 syllables, the second line 7 syllables, and the third line 5 syllables. For those of you who are expert mathists, how many syllables total?
7.
Nicely done. The other big thing would be, what is it in haiku we're supposed to be about?
Nature.
Typically, they're supposed to be about nature. Sometimes you can involve man-made things, as long as that man-made thing is out in nature. But for the most part, they're supposed to be about nature.
Do they have to be?
Oh, and because they're short, they're only going to be about one thing. So you can't have like one like, oh look, there's a pig. Oh my God, there's lions everywhere. I just stubbed my toe. It's not going to work. You have to focus all 3 lines on the same thing. That's pretty much as challenging as haiku get. The only other, well, actually, let's do practice ones. Then I'll show you the fun thing with haiku. All right. So our first one we have, where's my poking stick? Little piggies are rolling around in the mud. Now, around in the mud. I hear the oinking. 5, 7, 5. How many images do we have?
7.
How many images? How many ideas?
1.
What is that one image about?
Piggies.
There you go. So it's all about little piggies and stuff like that. Piggies are part of nature. No, they're not, Mr. Brovicast. You find them on farms. You do, but at one time there were wild piggies just running around oink-oinking out there. Nowadays, most piggies are on farms, but you still see them rolling around. Broken and broken, again on the sea, the moon so easily mends. This is an actual more fancy old one. Broken and broken, again on the sea, the moon so easily mends. This one, once again, how many images do we have?
1.
What is this one image of? The idea is that if you guys have ever been to the ocean at night, the moon, or anytime you have water and the moon reflects off the water, when the waves come in, and the little image of the moon like breaks apart on the water, and like as the water goes back out and it gets calm, it sort of reforms, and then wave comes in, it breaks apart. It's supposed to be this little happy feeling that you get. And then squirrels are in the trees. I can hear their chattering. I dodge the acorns. Squirrels are in the trees. I can hear their chattering. I dodge the acorns. And what is our one image we have here?
Squirrel.
Nicely done. I like haiku. I don't usually follow the one rule about them being about nature, though. Oftentimes, I will do what are called insult haikus. And I will write a haiku spontaneously about a kid in which to attack them. Let's see. Slow kid sitting there. You have so many issues.
No.
What is your problem? And so sometimes you can just whip off random haiku as we get into them and stuff like that. So as we go through stuff today, as you guys annoy me, I'll try to come up with a haiku to just attack you when we get a chance to bond. But now, let's see if you can figure out. I have broken haiku. I'm going to see if you can figure out what is wrong with my broken haiku. Where it says, rocks are really hard. They are used to hold down grass. Some are just brown. There is something wrong with this haiku, and it is broken. Let's see if you can figure out what is broken about our haiku. Civic?
The last line has 4 syllables.
Some are just brown. Nicely done. How can we fix it to unbreakify our haiku? Put another syllable. Good job. What would you say to make our not broken haiku? Adim?
Some rocks are just brown.
Some rocks are just brown. That would work. I could take that. Nicely done. Stanza, not stanza. Second haiku. The dogs are jumping. Look! A tree is over there. I just saw a fish. Verb?
There's not just one image. It's about tons of different things.
There you go. The fact that it does not focus on just one idea. You have dogs, and you have trees, and you have a fish. But Mr. Brovicast, all those things are part of nature. Correct. But all has to be the same part of nature. Focus on the jumping dogs, or a tree, or a fish, or something like that. And the last one I have for you, cell phones are so cool. I love texting all my friends. Read my words, people! Young.
It's not about nature.
And nicely done. Because we don't have a cell phone tree, so it's not about nature. So because of that, now given those are more the ones I like, we're going to do stuff with haiku a couple times this week. Most of the haiku we're going to do are going to be non-nature haiku. Because I think nature haiku, while that's how they're supposed to be written, are incredibly boring. I'd much rather write non-ones. Kid play, no. Don't play with balloons. I will charge you so many points will be lost. Now you have 0. See, like that we can just randomly pop out with haiku, and it makes so much more sense. Special children. All right. So tomorrow we're going to have a bell work, or sometimes this week. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow I think we have a bell work. We're going to have to write haiku, and we're going to do what's called a battle haiku, where you're going to have to throw down and write a haiku about another person. And it's like a battle rap, but with haiku. And then most of you can either battle against a famous person or battle against me. And you'll be able to have to come up with some kind of insult battle haiku to throw down. Now, let's do more learning bits. We're going to take a look, by the way, if you are unsure, you have haiku. It should be right there on your handout, I think, on the back side of it. Is there one on there for haiku or not? No. All right, then must be on the next one I'm going to give you then. No, haiku is not on there. Haiku will be on the next one then. All right. This one is, though. It's called Living Tenderly, which should be on the back side. It is on the back side.
Okay, but it's not haiku.
So then we'll get to Living Tenderly. All right. For here, let's have you guys once again. Oh, let's go all the way back to dots. We talked about the speaker in a poem. What is the speaker in a poem? Nicely done. And much like in our poem, one of the 7 has somewhat to say, we had to figure out who the speaker was. Same thing happens in this one, although it's not a famous movie character. This one's going to have the same idea, where you're going to have to try and figure out who the speaker is talking to us, and there's going to be a whole bunch of clues in the poem as we go through. But to make it... Oh, I just realized I forgot. Stupid Halloween gnomes leaving up an owl.
So we're charging that kid for stealth.
We'll leave the owl right there. You have to figure out the similes and metaphors and stuff like that as we get into it. What's that, Zoo? You want to read the first stanza? Oh, thank you, Zoo. I appreciate it. So as Zoo reads this first stanza, we're going to figure out similes and metaphors and what's going on there and stuff like that. Hang on, Zoo. So, did you need to buy a handout for me, Malachi, or you have one? Morning, Malachi! Is it in your locker? Hey! What's up? I know, you're still sleepy. You just got here. We can help you out. Do you need me to sell you one? Are you sure it's not in your locker? Go check your locker to make sure, and then I can sell you one. Go for it, Malachi. And then welcome back. And then when you get there, Malachi, you can probably go ahead and leave your coat there so that other teachers don't yell at you and stuff like that. We'll help you wake up. I know. Life's awful. Zoo! Go for it.
My body, a rounded stone with a pattern of smooth seams. My head, a short snake, retractive, projective. My legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within, and so does my chin. My eyelids are quick clamps.
Nicely done. My body, a rounded stone with a pattern of smooth seams. My head, a short snake, retractive, projective. My legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within, and so does my chin. My eyelids are quick clamps. First off, we have similes and metaphors both in this one to start off with. Corbin, you're correct. There is a simile and or metaphor right there at the very beginning. Nicely done. And what is our first simile and or metaphor you find there at the very beginning?
My body, a rounded stone.
Simile or metaphor?
Metaphor.
Nicely done. Comparing what two things?
Body and stone.
Nicely done. Almost done. Going back to the quiz from last Friday, the thing you do on your own. Why are we comparing the speaker's body to a stone? What is it they have in common?
They're both round.
Not bad, but why not to like a round donut or the round belly of a sumo wrestler? Why did they pick stone? Have you ever seen a stone? Have you ever been hit in the head with a stone? No. Why would you not want to get hit in the head with a stone?
Because it's hard.
It hurts.
Why would it hurt? Does it not go?
Hard.
Nicely done! So why are we comparing his body to a stone?
They're hard.
Nicely done, Corbin. Way to play the game. And so we're comparing the speaker's body to a stone. Now, we got the rounded part, so obviously it's a rounded stone, like the sumo wrestler. But unlike a sumo wrestler, you can slap it and it goes... Here, you can go slap. Ow, my hand! Because it's going to be hard, hence the stone part. When it says with a pattern of smooth seams. Do you guys know what seams are?
Yeah. Baseball seams and holes.
Works for me, both on baseballs and on clothing. You should hopefully be able to point to a seam. Probably wherever your army bit connects to the body bit. That'd be a little seam thing right there. And so, when it, and you guys, the pattern where it has like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, like woo 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 woo.
So the seams, so basically his body, it looks like something like that, where it has the pattern of smooth seams all over it. Let's see then. Oh, you're right! We do have more similes and metaphors in there. Green, where would be our next simile and or metaphor we're going to find in the poem?
I had a short snake.
Simile or metaphor?
Metaphor.
Comparing what two things?
Head and snake.
Nicely done. Now, before Clara can tell us why we're comparing his head to a snake, we have to know what these next two words mean, the retractive and the projective. Do you guys know what it means to retract something?
Yeah.
Take back. Take it back.
And to project something?
Oh, push it forward.
You guys are just smart. So, if his head is both retractive and projective, Clara, what can his head do? What does retract mean? You play with us. So what does retract mean?
To pull in.
And what does project mean?
Kapow.
So his head can go both in and out. And it looks like you did find it. It was there. What a happy day. And so his head can go back in and out, and it looks like a little snake attached to him. So he has a little head snake that goes, no, got that one. Got that one. Woo. So his little head can come, anyways, back up. It goes in and out like that. And then, those next two lines, my legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within, and so does my chin. Not a simile or metaphor, but what can his legs also do?
Retract it.
So not only can his head go inside of his body and come back out, but so can his legs go in and out of his body. And yes, you are right. There is one more simile and or metaphor in there, Adib. And what is our last simile and or metaphor?
My eyelids are quick clamps.
Simile or metaphor?
Metaphor.
Nice. So I'm comparing what two things?
These eyelids and clamps.
And you know what clamps are?
Yeah.
What are clamps?
The thing you like hold something down to a table.
Or like put on your chip
Works for
bag.
me. So I try to find a whole bunch of example clamps and stuff like that. So why are we comparing his eyelids to clamps? What can they both do?
shut.
Nicely done. Probably shut tight. Or hold papers together. You can take his eyelids and just like hold a bunch of papers together or something like that. Or a piece of wood down. Eckenbeer?
Is it a turtle?
I don't know, we're not there yet. Stop trying to learn Eckenbeer. This is school.
Oh,
Well, we're going to have more evidence in a moment. Next stanza. And now we get to take a look at that one. All right, from there, it could be literally anyone, but it's probably going to end up being over to here. Sure. Let's go for, I don't know, I wanted to pick on Marvin.
Yeah.
Your heart was speaking to me. So all I need you to do is just read the stanza out loud. And then we'll find more similes and metaphors.
My back is my roof. I'm always at home. I travel in my house walls. It's a smooth stone. It flows within the lake or rests in the dust. My flesh lives tenderly inside its bone.
Nicely done. My back is my roof. I'm always at home. I travel where my house walks. It is a smooth stone. It floats within the lake or rests in the dust. My flesh lives tenderly inside its bone. So we once again have our first simile and or metaphorical thing up there. Keaton, let's go with what do you see as our first simile and or metaphor or thing that's up there?
My back is my roof.
Works for me. My back is my roof. Similar metaphor. Comparing what two things? So his back is a roof. So what does that tell us about him, Keaton? I know, and here's where it gets tougher because you have to use this whole imagination-y type thing. And so usually a roof is for you. Where is your roof going to be located? Nicely done. So if his back has a roof over it, what does that imply about his body?
He's sleeping.
Nicely done, Keaton. So that his body, is he homeless? He could be. Because if you're homeless, your back is your roof, or whatever random cardboard that you find. But it's the same. Ooh, that next line kind of tells us more, Keaton, where it says, I am always at home. So whatever his body is, it is also his home. I travel where my house walks. So once again, homeless. Wherever he goes, his house goes with him. And then we get to the whole, there's more similes and or metaphors, Talia. And where's our next simile and or metaphor?
It is a smooth stone.
Compare it. Ooh, now here's where it gets a little tougher. Wait, I forgot him walking around wherever his house goes. More of our wonderful Brovy art. Now here's where it gets a little tougher, Talia. You have to figure out what two things are being compared. When it says it is a smooth stone, what are the two things being compared? Nicely done. So way to not say it. And so we're comparing his back and a stone. Once again, Talia, why are we comparing his back to a stone? Channel your inner Corbin. They're both what? Remember me throwing things at Corbin. Nicely done, Talia. The fact that they're both hard again. See, it floats within the lake or rests in the dust. My flesh lives tenderly inside its bone. All right. So what did you say the speaker was?
A turtle.
All right. So now here's my question. Can you prove to me, because I've also heard crab, crab versus turtle, what evidence is there in this poem to prove one or the other between the crab versus turtle? Because you have to be able to support it with actual evidence-y bits that you're going to find in there. Haggerty? Makes it which one? Crab or turtle? Because I can count that one. Just crabs, I don't think go in unless you're watching SpongeBob with Mr. Krabs. I think they fold underneath like landing gear as opposed to coming in. All right, not a bad evidence. I could support that one. Loud one?
His head could retract in, like with the crab.
said that.
Like his.
We literally
Wait,
just
no.
said that.
It just, like.
You don't know.
No,
Oh, yeah,
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
know.
know.
He like,
Alright, new hand.
his flesh lives in, like, a crab is really like skin, flesh thing.
True, but it has meaty bits though, because you need crab legs.
Well, yeah.
Not bad. I'm not saying you're wrong on that one. I'm saying, Spencer,
The lake. I don't think crabs are in the lake.
not bad. I could count that as evidence. The fact that typically turtles are more in the lakey area. Green?
His back is more of like a roof than the crab's back.
Do you guys know where crabs live?
Ocean.
Not only in the ocean.
I found one, and it was all in it.
They live in holes. Crabs actually live live in holes in the ground, and they come out and they have like their own like a little crab nest you can go into. Turtles don't have a turtle nest. You have to worry about like, no, don't step on that turtle nest. They can like out and attack you and stuff like that. So not a bad evidence. Verb.
So it says like my head is a short snake.
Thank you.
How does that work?
A crab doesn't really have a short snake head. It's like
It does have a head.
But
But it's not like it's not a head.
All right, cool. Stop there.
I can agree with that one. They have their eyeballs are little like short snakes, at least according to
Thank
SpongeBob.
you.
I would agree with that one overall. Sam?
Never talked about its pinchers.
Ooh. True. I mean,
my legs.
all right. I'm guessing if it was a crab, they'd probably talk about pinchers. That is a major thing to leave off of a crab land. Young?
Crabs, their heads don't go in and out. Their heads stay like
You already said that.
The whole short they do not move. All right. Zoo?
It says with a pattern of smooth seams. So do crabs have seams on the back of them or something? Like a pattern?
No, I don't. Oh my.
Not as much. I would say the turtles have more of the whole soccer ball like look to them, as you sort of see on that one. And some crabs might, but probably not as much. But I can see that one.
All right.
Not bad. I agree it is probably going to be a turtle, but I have heard arguments both ways. My goal with this was to see how well you guys could figure out the evidence to support it, of which you guys passed really well. The next thing, though, I can't have on video, so we're going to have to say bye-bye to you guys. You don't get to see this part.